Today's topic, when clients ask for discounts, a case study in business boundaries. I'm going to ask James not to take a step because he ruined my first intro. But this is something that I'm sure a lot of PTs can relate to, clients approaching them for discounts, something that's happened to us over the years and something that happened very recently. James, do you want to share our experience with it?
Yeah, literally yesterday. So we thought we'd just go straight into it today and share an example of what happened. So a client came to us in Cricket Matters. He was convinced he knew what was best for his son, and he wanted us to change our products and services to match what he was doing and he wanted to have done for his son. And I basically said no, in the nicest, and we politely, we did respectfully declined.
Well, ChatGPT helped you do it more politely.
Yeah, it was. The initial email was quite forceful. It was nice, but it was forceful. Then I put it to ChatGPT to double check it was the right way, and it did change the tone appropriately, and I thought it came across really well. But it's a classic example where people constantly try and barter with you and discount your services as a fitness professional, and they always tend to think they know better, and they always try to think that they can do better themselves. However, when they want to try and adapt and change what you do, which you know works accordingly, is completely wrong. You would never go into a dentist and halfway through the middle of being on the chair say, actually, I think what you're doing with my changing my tooth or putting a filling in my tooth is wrong. You wouldn't do that. Same as if you go to a doctor and you're paying for service. Yet people automatically assume us as fitness professionals, we should cater and bow down to every beck and whim. The problem is a lot of personal trainers and coaches do that because they're trying to get money in and trying to please everybody. However, from our experience, no, stick to your guns, raise your level of professionalism and make sure that what you're offering is right. And if they try and barter with you, we don't do it.
I was going to say, Andrew, do you think it can be tempting though? Because people obviously, it's like, oh God, well, if I offer them a discount, that's more money coming in. I've got a new client. So sort of people would be tempted along those lines.
You can be, and you certainly are. From previous experience back in the day, I had that very same situation. I buckled to the client's whim, and I did reduce my price for them. But then when it came to others hearing about it, new prospects, well, they wanted that same price. So I'm forcing myself into that. But then equally, and perhaps more importantly, I peed off the existing clients I had because they get wind, clients talk, and they're talking about the price that they're paying compared to what the existing one was, and it was a whole heap of mess that I had to address, and I ended up losing clients. So it was an expensive decision I made back then, and a mistake I learned from.
Well, you are, as you say, you're making a rod for your own back, especially if you discount for someone and then other clients get wind of it. You put yourself in a difficult position. So what? Obviously, it is important to say no. What are some alternative solutions without compromising your value, James?
Well, I think this is what we try and do. So we go back, for those who want to know what our trading model is, particularly with Cricket Matters, which is probably more relevant to a lot of people out there. They wanted to come into our pro package services. However, they didn't want to pay the pro prices, right? So the theory was, they said, well, look, I think his cardio is fine. I don't think he needs nutrition, and I think his health is absolutely fine. We just want to work on the strength and movement. So therefore, I want to pay this much per month. I'm not going to go above this. And I just literally said no. So they missed the bigger picture of health, movement, strength, and cardio. It's all interlinked. And most people, they think their little Johnny is fit and healthy. However, it's not always the case from what we've seen. So they think they can run. I'll give an example. They said, this guy can do a really good 5K. His 5K was 27 minutes. Right, that's not a good 5K in terms of athletic development. It really isn't. Nowhere near it. Yeah, he eats healthy and he's not overweight. They're coming back with 20% body fat. We've got to have all the numbers in front of us to make sure we do a good service and provide great, exceptional quality. So he wanted to have a mixture of the Kickstarter with the pro package, and I was like, no, it's one or the other, because it makes us and holds us accountable to be more professional with what we're doing. And that's the
missing
biggest
out
problem.
The health and cardio bit.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is this idea of professionalism, and I think that's the biggest problem a lot of the industry has as a whole, is most fitness businesses aren't professional. That sounds crazy, but it's the professionalization compared to the big businesses that stands out. Where little simple things that from start to finish allow people to come and think, yeah, I can do this, I can barter with them and it's fine. No, hold your ground. So make sure you have options and packages. That's what we do. We have 3 options. We have the Kickstarter, the Pro Plus. So, and we just stick to our guns. It's like, hey, you don't want to pay the Pro prices? That's okay. Because guess what? We have a Kickstarter package for you that you can use, and you can get a baseline of what our services are.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point to point out, actually, the professionalism. You need to present yourself as professional, don't you? Because there is little regulation, unfortunately, in the fitness industry. Anyone can call themselves a fit pro, and nobody's going to bat an eyelid, and you can have 0 qualifications to do it. But you wouldn't ever, as you've mentioned, James, you wouldn't ever question the professionalism of a doctor or a dentist or a physio. They're held in higher regard, and it's a shame us PTs are not. So that's why we need to hold ourselves to high standards, I guess.
Even though we're at the forefront of the medical industry in some respects.
Yeah.
Even though at the forefront. So, but it's little things that set up this professionalism. So, like, we're very adamant that you must book in with a free strategy call with us on a certain time and a certain date. You can't just message us on WhatsApp and take a call randomly. It's got to be booked in. If we're going to go any further, it's another pre-booked in date. So we're creating these barriers to raise our level of professionalism. That's what we're trying to do, and raise and set expectations. And it goes with our services. We are not discounting our services like this or changing it at the beck and whim of certain people. We know what works best for most people, having years of experience, and you should adhere to that same thing too. So just bear that in mind. Don't try and bow down to people saying, yeah, I could do this. I know it's tempting, but it has a knock-on effect to everything else that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, do you think it's just important to have been able to offer people different options if they are attempting to get a discount? So you've got different packages to offer.
Definitely, and that's where the terminology I use is the value ladder, where you've got 2 to 3 different pricing options. You've got your, using our example, your Kickstarter, your Pro, and your Pro Plus. Then depending on what their budget, if it's a budget issue and they're embarrassed about not having the available funds to invest in the program that's best suited for them, well, then you can address that in the best way possible and just guide them to that lower price point. But as we say, never discount. Just have those options, those different pricing options available.
Because if you discount, you become a commodity, and it's a race to the bottom, and that's the biggest problem. You're then competing against other people who are doing the same thing, and that's why most trainers go out of business. They're cheaper, where they can't pay their bills and they're working longer hours, and we don't want that to happen to you and your business. So, value your services, value your expertise in the niche that you're working in, and make sure you stick to your guns. So I can't emphasize that enough. And that's just a specific example we've come across now in the last 24 hours, quite literally.
Yep, absolutely. That is it for today. I'm off to the butcher's to try and get some cheap steaks. Please don't forget to rate, review and subscribe. And if you want to find out what's holding you back from growing your fitness business, go to strengthmatters.com/quiz.